Everyone, my name is Michael Lambert. I'm your city librarian. On behalf of the San Francisco Public Library, I want to extend a warm welcome to the beautiful and historic Chinatown Branch Library. And thank you, Mrs. Lee, for joining us today. It's an honor to meet you and an honor to have you present this morning. Special thanks to our city administrator, Naomi Kelly, and your entire team, Mayor Lee's staff, and our own library team for coming together this morning to launch this book highlighting Mayor Ed Lee's leadership. The library greatly appreciates this opportunity to add such an important work to our collection for future generations to learn about Mayor Ed Lee's leadership and his contributions to the city and county of San Francisco. The book, Mayor Lee and the City He Loved, will be a treasured asset for the San Francisco Public Library. As a student of history and leadership, I look forward to reading this book myself. This book highlights not only his leadership, but also the mayor's concern for the residents of San Francisco, his dedication to the city, and his humor and his kindness. I remain so impressed by the love and devotion his staff showed for Mayor Lee and the joy and friendship he brought to our city family. What you might not know is that Mayor Ed Lee and his family were regular library users and tremendous champions of the branch library system. In fact, his leadership of the city's Public Works Department paved the way for the Branch Library Improvement Program, which saw the renovation of 16 neighborhood libraries and the construction of 8 brand new libraries. This program ensured that all branches were seismically safe, ADA accessible, and prepared to deliver 21st century library services. The Branch Library Improvement Program was the largest capital program in the library's history. And once the branches were completed, Mayor Lee turned his focus to the main library, supporting the creation of a state-of-the-art digital media lab for teens, the Mix at SFPL. The Mix provides a safe space for teens to come together and create music, videos, learn coding, and do homework. The Mix at SFPL is a great legacy for our mayor, who recognized the growing need for our youth to have access to technology and opportunities to compete in the new tech economy. Mayor Lee also helped us to launch the Bridge at Main, our literacy and learning center on the 5th floor of the main library. This space features 2 award-winning literacy programs, one designed to help adults and the other designed to help young people learn how to read. It also features a Veterans Resource Center and an accredited online high school program. As the city prospered, Mayor Lee ensured the library system and our residents prospered as well. He provided the critical support to allow us to hire more staff and open every library every day, creating 7-day-a-week service at all 28 library locations. Our libraries are a bastion of democracy for all residents, and Mayor Lee recognized the importance they serve as anchors in our neighborhoods. It's fitting that we launched this book during Asian and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. As the first Asian American to lead the San Francisco Public Library, I stand on the giant shoulders of Mayor Ed Lee, our first Asian American mayor. I aspire to shepherd our library system in the same professional manner Mayor Lee directed the city. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our city administrator, Naomi Kelly.
Thank you, Michael. I have to say that it's Naomi Kelly, City Administrator, but I have to say I have some fond memories of working with Mayor Ed Lee and supporting the libraries. He personally had me fundraising for the Teen Digital Center down at the main library. When City Hall turned 100, we worked closely with Michael and then City Librarian Luis Herrera and Susan Goldstein to make sure that we honor the beauty and history of San Francisco. I just want to recognize, as Michael did, Mrs. Anita Lee. I'm so happy that you're here today. We've talked in the last year and more about honoring Mayor Ed Lee and his legacy and all that he's done for this city. And I've enjoyed and treasured each of those conversations because I still feel I have, and Malcolm's been part of many of those conversations too. I feel that together we are going to keep his story alive and everything that he has done for the city of San Francisco. I also want to give a heartfelt thanks to all of Mayor Ed Lee's former staff and his colleagues who contributed to this book. They all came through with stories, with like facts, with data, just so that the residents and the visitors of San Francisco know the history of what was accomplished in his time as mayor. And I see many of my colleagues here in the audience today, and I want to thank you for being here. Today's presentation is to formally memorialize, sorry, getting a bit tongue-tied today, but to memorialize Mayor Ed Lee's accomplishments. And as a historical document, it will remind generations to come about the amount of work Ed Lee put into the city of San Francisco. There was a time of growth and transition. Ed literally rolled up his sleeves and got down to business, and not without his signature smile and his humorous jokes. Although his time with us, with the city, was way too short, we can all agree that he was able to accomplish many things during his administration from 2011 to 2017. He was kind, he was generous, he was thoughtful, he was humorous. He was influential in addressing street homelessness with the first navigation center model during his administration. He launched Invest in Neighborhoods for neighborhoods and small business along local merchant corridors. He improved public housing, including the Pings right down the street. When he became mayor, it was during the recession. He focused on job growth and local hire. And as always, from the time he was city administrator to the time he was mayor, he focused on our infrastructure and our resilience in keeping future generations of San Francisco safe. But there's not enough time for me to go through all of his accomplishments, which is why I'm so very happy to formally present Mayor Lee and the city he loved, a summary of his accomplishments from 2011 to 2017 to the Daniel E. Koshland San Francisco History Center, which contains the official archives for the city and county of San Francisco. And with this, I'd like to invite former Ed Lee staff member Malcolm Young and current airport commissioner to the podium to say a few words.
Thank you, Naomi. First of all, my name is Malcolm Young. I'm currently over at Chinatown Community Development Center, where we build affordable housing and really try to make sure that Chinatown is a great community and remains an immigrant gateway. First of all, I just want to say congratulations to Michael on being the new director of our libraries. You're inheriting a great system, and we're excited that you're going to make it better, and we're excited that we're doing this event here. I had the privilege of working for Mayor Lee in 2011 and 2012 as his first affordable housing advisor. I think people forget that prior to Mayor Lee becoming mayor, affordable housing isn't exactly the issue that we have today. When people say affordable housing in San Francisco, the question isn't whether we need affordable housing. Really, the fight is over how much affordable housing we need. And I think people forget that prior to Mayor Lee, this city hadn't passed a single affordable housing ballot measure since 1996. Mayor Lee in 2012, coming out of recession, really reshaped the conversation around affordable housing in San Francisco. It was a moment whenever the housing market was down and there was a lot of contentiousness around whether or not we actually needed to do affordable housing. But Mayor Lee, I think, had a vision. He understood that this city is always going to have that issue, and he knew coming out of the recession that we were going to recover and affordability was going to be important. Through the Housing Trust Fund process, Ed Lee pulled together a working table that this city really hadn't seen in probably 15 years. It was a table consisting of housing advocates, of whom I was formerly in their ranks, market rate developers, landlords. It was really a truly remarkable table at that time. And I think what people forget is that prior to that moment, that table wasn't happening. We successfully then went on to pass the Housing Trust Fund in 2012, and then subsequently, the mayor used the same model to pass the housing bond in 2015. He's the first and only mayor to pass 2 affordable housing ballot measures ever. I mention this because we're in a moment right now where we're going to be putting another affordable housing bond measure on the ballot in November, a $600 million bond measure. And it's critical. We need to pass it. It's the largest ever, and Mayor Breed has really been a staunch champion of this bond. But I think in this moment we need to take a step back and remember Ed's role in pulling that table together and really refashioning the conversation around affordability in this city. In addition to that, I think in many ways we're also standing in Ed's neighborhood. There's really no block on this neighborhood where Ed hasn't had an imprint, and I don't just mean in his role as a city. Well prior to Ed joining the city, he was a young attorney at the Asian Law Caucus. Those were his early years coming out of law school. During that time, Ed led the way in fighting for civil rights, particularly within the city, desegregating the fire department as one of the lawsuits that he filed. But near and dear to my heart, Ed was also a champion for tenants' rights and affordable housing yet again. He fought so many anti-eviction battles in this neighborhood, including the famous one at Orangeland, where it really set the tone for Chinatown and Chinatown valuing the rights of tenants and the right of people to remain. Ed also was the attorney who represented the Pingyun Resident Improvement Association in the city's first affordable public housing rent strike to really drive for safer conditions. He won that one too, and I think that really had a lasting imprint on Ed, which led to his work around affordable housing. So lastly, I just want to say I'm really glad that this book was pulled together. As an airport commissioner, we do have an aviation library. We typically don't really put anything in it that doesn't include aviation, but, in about a week, we hope that we're going to be able to make another great announcement regarding Ed's legacy. I can't vote on it, but I believe that this coming Tuesday, the international terminal is going to be named after Mayor Ed Lee. It's the culmination of about a year and a half of work by a joint, community effort with contributions from everybody. And I don't know if Naomi wants me to out the fact that she contributed to it. But I think that it would be appropriate to have this publication in the airport's library as well, and we commit to buying 1 million copies.
So I think we'll stand together so that you can see the official. We'll present it to Mrs. Lee, and let's move down so this podium's not in the way.
There we go.